Hey everyone, it's me Hallease, endeavoring to persevere as always. Before we get into this episode of the Beastcast, I just wanted to make a quick announcement. This episode ended up being really long, over an hour, because we talked about a lot of stuff and just what it means to be married to an artist, what it means to end up, sort of partnering in a business with an artist as a spouse, and just what that looks like. And it's long, so I ended up cutting it down to, I think, like a really good portion that would work on this platform. But if you want to see the full version, the full over an hour long version, hit up the Patreon, patreon.com/Hallease. There, all the Patreon producers of the channel, y'all can see/hear it. And so, yeah, you just start at the $2 tier and you'll hear the whole episode. And if you want to bounce after that, bet. No pressure. So, yeah, without further ado, here's the episode, and I'll see you when I see you. Hey everyone, I'm Hallease, a digital storyteller and video producer.
And I'm Mr. Hallease, and I'm the operations and production manager of Hallease Beast.
Oh. Yeah, you are. And this is the Beastcast, your favorite aunt and uncle talking about married life and things like such as.
Music, roll it.
This actually is going to be a bit of a amalgamation episode, if you will.
Oh man, you're using good. That's good.
Too much?
Keep going. No, keep going.
Okay, amalgamation episode, if you will, because our good friends over at How Married Are You podcast, Beleaf and Yvette, asked us to respond to a question, which we did, and hopefully that episode is already out by the time this one comes out, because
otherwise,
we release things on time. Anyway, otherwise, the question was, one of their viewers sent them an email. It's an 18-year-old woman asking about some of the difficulties in being a full-time creative, potentially becoming, a full-time creative and being married in a heterosexual sense, and being worried about how that could impact her hypothetical relationship at this point. And so we respond to that because obviously Glenn is not a woman, he is a man, and Yvette is the woman. So they asked us to answer that since the tables are flipped in our case, and we did. Hopefully we did it well. The main point that we made in our response to that was, you're 18, you have your whole life ahead of you, and if being a full-time creative is really important to you, then pursue that and let your future hypothetical potential partner rise to the occasion to be married to someone that is that. But first and foremost, focus on yourself and focus on building a career that can justify the life you want later. All that being said, though, that got us thinking about a previous Beleaf and Yvette episode of How Married Are You, where they did go into some of the difficulties of Yvette being married to a creative, Beleaf in fatherhood. And that made us think, dang, Mr. Hallease, how hard is it to be married to me?
And I made a list.
And he made a list, which is also, this is why the Beastcast exists, by the way, because the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, is about documenting my chaotic good life. And I always figured, okay, somehow Mr. Hallease needs to be involved in it because a big part of my life is being married to you. So how can I involve that into the channel without it being like, oh, look at this beige man next to me all the time? Because that's like whole thing.
So people apparently don't even see me as beige, according to that one comment.
What do they see you as?
Remember, it was like that.
I can't even remember now.
It was that dude who was talking about like, oh, you still define yourself by your
but you define yourself by your white husband. Yeah.
Might as well cut your locks off.
And I was like, what? How does cutting my hair, what?
If you recognize your comment, yeah, you're trash.
Anyway.
Why do you, and this is not a beef that I have with you, it's just like the greater community in general. Why do you describe yourself as a creative as opposed to artist?
Yeah, I think,
or filmmaker.
Right. So I think that's just something, just with the times, different just words come back into favor and fall out of favor and all that kind of stuff. For whatever reason, the word is creative right now. And it's the same thing. Has it
ever been in favor before, though?
Not that I know
It's
of.
always been artist. So why, what's the difference between a creative and an artist?
Oh, nothing. They're the same thing. They're synonyms.
So, and I understand that
So you can call me that.
There's still like an air of haughtiness
To creative?
to either one. It's like, and what does your husband do? Oh, he's an artist. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there's some stereotype there.
But if you say, oh, he's a creative, then to me, it's like, oh, he's a creative. It's like, okay, so he's of the millennial generation and he doesn't do anything.
Oh.
But it's like, what do you do? I am on YouTube. It's like, add the ER. Like, that's a thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a YouTuber. Like, I do. The
To me,
is like, I do the YouTube.
I wouldn't call myself a YouTuber, though, because I can't do it full time. When I hear someone say I'm a YouTuber, to me that means, oh, you're making enough from YouTube, whether it be through, paid promotion, sponsors, whatever the thing is. Like, you're doing enough for, like, if you want YouTube to be the only thing you're doing, then that's what you're doing. There's all these weird, like, internal semantics and internal struggles that everyone puts on the terms. So it really doesn't matter what you call yourself. I don't know.
So it's like the noun, artist. Mm-hmm. What do you like? What's the adjective version of that? Like, oh, it's artistic. You are artistic. Like, cool. It's like, oh, so what are you? I'm a creative. And it's like, no, that's an adjective. So what are you? A creator? Are you God?
There's something about the word that you liken it to God specifically, I think. And so I think that's what's bothering you.
God is creative. God is a creative.
God is a creative. You are not.
Yeah.
You make videos. That's what you do.
Well, I mean, and it's not to like detract from it, but it's like you do other things.
I'm a video producer and digital storyteller. Just so y'all know. If anybody asks.
Okay, so the first point that Glenn and Yvette made.
Yeah.
About being married to a creative.
Being married to an artist. Just
no,
say
no,
it.
that's how you define it. So I'm using his term.
Okay.
So you accept the fact that they are slaves to their ideas and they're always thinking. They'll zone out a lot. So
do I zone out that? I don't think I zone out.
You don't. I mean, it's not like you're a narcoleptic and in the middle of something you just like.
I have started to say that. Sorry, I left for a minute. I say that a lot now.
Well, so you'll be doing research on your laptop or you'll be doing other things.
Yeah.
Or you'll be talking about an idea or something and I can see you leave, like mentally.
Yeah.
You just check out.
I let you know when I'm back though. I have like been at dinner or something and people are talking and then that gives me an idea and then I like mentally leave for a little while.
The person, so the spouse or the partner needs to have thick skin. The thing that Yvette used as evidence was you'll pitch them ideas, but the artist or the creator or whatever may not accept them. So, and this is the thing that I was like, oh, wow, someone else knows my pain. So you'll tell them something, nothing will happen of it, or nothing will come of it, and then someone else will tell them the exact same thing.
Here we go, y'all.
And then that's the time that they're receptive to it.
Yeah, but
I feel like that's more about being married than...
I was going to say, that's like a thing about being married in general, because I feel like there are times when I have told you things too and said, I just think X, Y, and Z if you're going to do A, B, and C. And you're like, yeah. And then someone else was just like, oh, now it's okay. Bet. I laid the groundwork, so fine.
90% of the time, though, we will be talking about a subject, and I'll say, yeah, but I feel like that person is, and this leads into another point that they talk about,
okay.
But that person just doesn't respect you. Like, this is not a beneficial relationship. This is actually, like the language that's being used between the two of you, this is an abusive relationship. So you are in an abusive relationship with this other person.
Yeah.
And then you'll say, yeah, I mean, I guess you can describe it like that. And then you'll talk to somebody else and they're like, yeah, so why are you letting them into your life? Like they're stealing your creative energy. You're like, wow, yeah. It's like, I just said the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But why is that?
Why does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's more just...
Oh, no, I get it.
I think it's more just about laying the groundwork. It takes most people's minds... This is actually a statistical thing. I'm going to paraphrase, but it's something like you have to present an idea 6 or 7, 8 times, something high, to make sure that someone actually gets to the actual cognitive learning the thing. Otherwise, all the other steps before that is just like presenting it, memory retention, blah, 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 until you actually learn the concept itself. And so I think spouses end up being, for better or worse, they lay the groundwork of just the memorization of learning a new concept, and this concept being a life lesson or a business goal or whatever the thing is. The spouse, because y'all are on the ground, the ground floor. What is it? The
foundation.
What is it?
Level?
In war, when it's like you're on grounds, y'all are on
And the
ground
trenches?
zero in the trenches. There you go. That's the phrase. Y'all are in the trenches with us and vice versa. That's just how it goes. And then by the time we've gotten comfortable enough to tell someone else about something that's happening, we've already been mulling it over. You've already been thinking about it, giving it a lot of your mental energy and trying to learn from it. Mm-hmm. So by the time they come, you're like, yeah, I am right.
But it's I am right, not
yeah. It's like, yeah, he was right.
But it's gotten to the point where I don't even call it out anymore.
Oh, really?
I don't think I have. Well,
I personally feel like I'm getting better at listening. No.
Well, no. So I'll lay the groundwork, and then it'll take some time, and then you'll come back and tell me like, yeah. So I was talking to this person, and they said this and that, and I just listen, like, yeah, okay. It's like, yeah, that's what I said. I said the same point.
And then I say, yeah, you did.
But there's no bitterness or like I want retribution or I want credit anymore. Like I think that's where the change was for me. It's like it's because it wasn't for. I told you the thing because it wasn't for my benefit. It was for your benefit.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the fact that you eventually got it, it's just like, yeah. So you eventually got there. Like that's cool.
Call it artists. You're married to an artist. There you go.
So be flexible. Artists don't think in slots of time. They may not eat meals together, and they may not sleep at the same time. So I think that's true. I think we just kind of make it work a little bit more.
I think that's true-ish. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if especially what did she said? Eat at the same time, sleep at the same time. Because I will say this, Beleaf hustles. He's one of the few artists I've ever met that I can see or feel works harder than me, like harder. All that being said, though, he's got a lot of overhead. He's got 4 kids. Like I feel like if I had that internal weight on myself, I would not be sleeping at the same time as my spouse either.
No, I guess you're right. Maybe this point doesn't necessarily jive well with, because Glenn literally will just work whenever he finds the time. Well, because he has family.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I'm like. I think it's more the circumstance of what he's having to handle is why sleep is whenever he can get it and eating's whenever he can do it, Yeah. Whereas, I mean, if I had children, if I had 1 or 2, then yeah, I'd be a lot more.
Well, so the thing is, I don't know if that's creative and it's not just kids.
Right.
Because you work on, so you don't have time, like there is no time anymore. Time is always relative, right? But when you have kids, it's kid time. Well,
I think that's the beautiful thing about being a parent, as not being one, but is that you are a lot more aware of the time and how much time is finite.
I was going to say, or the lack of it.
Yeah. You become way more aware of how much time is very finite. And I think that also ends up playing into how you run your business and how you run your life. Like, there are times when I'll ask Beleaf for advice about things, and he's just like, why are you entertaining that person? Like, and that's because he's so aware of how time is not like, you can always make more money. You can always do other things, but time, you can't, once the time's gone, it's gone. That's it. So, I think parents in general just realize this a lot earlier than us who don't have kids.
You should encourage and not discourage.
I will piggyback that. There have been times when I was trying new things, like a new creative thing. And yeah, you were pretty not mean about it, but you were just kind of like, I don't get it. I don't see the point, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to prove you wrong now, So it's fine. But yeah.
So and we've talked about this before. Like it took me some time to come to terms with what you were trying to do. And I mean, in my defense, you were very vague about what you were trying to do. So when you were trying to go it wasn't even contract work. When you were trying not to be full-time employed.
Yeah.
And you said, what if I don't even know how you said it anymore. But it was like, what if I just didn't work full-time anymore?
I think that was what I was trying to do. I was trying to pitch that to you. Like, what if I just go part-time at the agency?
But my question was, so what does that look like? And you were like, I don't know. It's like maybe a little bit more YouTube stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, because I'm still a small channel. But, you know.
Well, I mean, you had like 12,000. You had like 10 or 12,000?
Somewhere in
maybe
there.
something like that.
I don't know.
And now you're up to 20.
I'm almost at 20
now.
yeah.
You're at 20?
By the time this video comes out, it might be at 20.
We're going to look at that.
We out here, pew, 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 20K. Anyway.
Yeah, but so, I mean, in my mind, it's like, well, you don't have that much of an audience. You don't have this and that. And it's like, so.
Yeah, and I was like, whoo, jab, jab, jab.
But, so, I mean, it's like.
All facts. But,
it's like, so what are you trying to do? You're trying to make money off of YouTube? And you were like, yeah. And I was like, so how do you do that?
Yeah.
And you said, I don't know. It's just like ad money and all this other stuff. And it's like, but how much are you making now with like the subscribers you have? And it's like this much. Like, okay. So
yeah, and it was like maybe $100 a month. I was barely consistently making the $100 threshold to get the check from YouTube.
So then how many more subscribers do you need to get to that?
Yeah, we figured out to like make about $1,000 a month, I needed around 100,000 subscribers. Yeah,
and you were like, no, I'll get there. I'm going to get there in like,
I'm very
a little
glass
bit.
half full. Yeah.
I was like, so you're talking, because you were talking about like in a year's time, you were going to get up to 100,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, so goals are good and sometimes it's good to have a goal that you can't attain.
Ow.
In a year's time?
No, I mean.
Unless you went viral or something like that.
Look, I am currently working on a show that launched in February. Mm-hmm. We are about to hit 100,000 in October. And I am the producer of the show.
Yes.
So.
That's
just saying.
You're right.
Just throwing that. You can throw it back, but if we're going to go analytics.
This is not an, I love you. This is not an attack. I am not attacking
saying.
You. In the way that you were building subscribers, it did not seem like you could attain that because you're still growing. Like you're growing.
Yeah, it's really cool. I am growing.
But it's very, like it does seem like it's very linear. One of that was I'm not of the artistic mindset and I don't know film. And it's just like there's a whole bunch of deficits that I was in. So it was knowledge deficits about the industry.
Yeah.
Knowledge deficits about where you would even gain income. And I just didn't understand it because I'm very 9 to 5. I'm very, you work for a company. Like that's what I've worked in for the last decade. So that's just all I know.
Yeah, and I know in the moments, in the moment, it was always very kind of like frustrating and why doesn't my husband support me? Ooh, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, even in those moments, I always felt actually very grateful that I had to explain it to you. Because in explaining it to you, I could reinforce it into myself. It's good to have... I personally think it's good to have someone around that not necessarily is playing devil's advocate or wants you to fail, and not necessarily that you need to prove something to, but just someone around to force you to define yourself a little bit. And that's what I've always appreciated about, or that's why I like bouncing things off of you. I've gotten to a place where even if your mindset is a little negative, I've just learned like he's a glass half empty person though.
And that's true.
That's just how he is. Yeah. He's glass half empty. So I always go into things glass half full and a little bit of let them eat cake mentality, not gonna lie. So
like I was in a deficient mindset. Like I was in a glass half empty state of mind anyway, because when you originally pitched that, we were thinking about buying a house, and so we needed the money. Mm-hmm. And I also wanted to pay off student loans, and it's like, well, I can't build savings for a house or just to have in general, and I can't pay off student loans because you were making really good money.
Yeah, I was.
So much so that I was making like a lot of payments onto my student loans. And then like I just thought that I could carry that for I don't know how long. But I was already thinking like, oh, well, if we just keep this, then like we're saving a whole bunch of money. And then when you pitched, you know, going, it wasn't even part-time. Like realistically, what you were talking about was just going off on your own and then just trying to find different means of earning money that was not working for somebody.
Yeah.
Like if you would have said that back in like 3 years ago, that would get me more understanding. I would still be just as nervous.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you'd be like, "Oh hell no!"
But I would know what you were doing. Well, no, because you said YouTube, and I was like, "What are you talking? Like, you're not going to get money from YouTube,
Right.
And now, technically, you have not like from the AdSense. Like, that's not what you are subsisting on. You are making a living on YouTube,
Right.
but it's via other
Right.
things. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I think that that's where my mindset was. So I was just very defensive about like, so who's going to pay for what? If you don't get, because you were talking about it like, yeah, what if I might not get paid consistently? So I started thinking, oh crap, I need to make more money. And that's actually the spiral that I went down in 2016. And that's that's one of the reasons why I jumped from that job to another one. Because that first job here in San Antonio wasn't bad. Like I liked my manager, I liked what I was doing. It wasn't demanding, but
It's pretty.
it was a little demanding. But going into that second job, it was a lot more money.
Yeah.
And Poochie is getting up. Yeah. So but I went to my manager in 2016 and I said, look, my wife's thinking about trying to go, like she's trying to go freelance or something.
You did not let on that this was a specific reason of why you were looking for another job. That's interesting.
Well, it spurred what happened. And it was more until like 2017. I was like, oh crap, we're not going to have enough money. When did I start doing the gig economy stuff?
Oh, right.
It's 2016 to 2017.
Yeah, 2017. You tried all that stuff out. Interesting. Wow.
And it was because you were thinking about going freelance. So I freaked out. I was like, what can I do? I'm going to try to work from home. What else can I do? I'm going to try to do like Uber. What else am I going to do? I'm going to try to do
interesting.
all that, like, what is it? It wasn't Instacart, but it was Shipped and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was freaking out about earning more money so that I could save in the times that were tough for you.
Yeah.
So like that's what I was freaking out about. And then I just got to a point where it didn't matter. It's like, this is all killing me if she's not bringing anything in. It eventually got to a point where I knew that you were just going to hustle. Like I knew that you weren't just spending time. And that was also a fight that we had.
Right.
Because you said, I'm not going to sit on my butt and not do anything.
Right.
I'm always out there trying to do stuff.
Right.
And it eventually got into my head where I was like, okay, well, if you're not making income and it's all reliant on my paycheck, I'll just figure it out. Like student loan payments will have to be modified. Savings, like nothing will go into the savings. We won't need out as much. Like we'll be able to make it work.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mindset that I eventually got into. And I also realized that you were happier when you weren't working for that other company.
Yeah.
You were just in a lot better mindset generally, even though we were dealing with the shambles, but you were happier professionally. And then when your parents and family didn't fully understand, like there were some things where they were like, oh, well, this is good exposure in San Antonio. And it's like, there's no money in video in San Antonio.
Right.
It's like, so that does not equate to dollars. And you were frustrated by that. And by that time I had already bought in. And I was the one also defending you like, well, that doesn't, like time is money for her. There were times where your family was asking things of you where time was sparse.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was the one that was starting to defend where it's like, look, even though she may be going to the office and spending 8 hours at the office, whatever she does at the office is time that she's using to prepare the fields. And like, just because you can't see the crops growing doesn't mean that there wasn't a ton of work that went into, and they're still going into, reaping the benefits of the crops.
Right.
So you going to work, you doing this, you're doing that. All of that, regardless of what it brings in financially, is going into your business.
Yeah.
So it's like you cannot interrupt that because eventually something will come of this. You interrupting this is stealing from me. You're stealing from her, and then it's stealing from me and the family. So you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I can readily step into that, sometimes begrudgingly, but you just need to know it's like the army. It's like you're given a role to perform. Well, I don't enjoy that.
That's not what we're paying you to do, right?
What did you say? I'm not happy in this role. Oh, nobody said you were going to be happy. Who told you? Who told you that? The recruiter? The recruiter tells you a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Dang.
I can be the work rant. Anyway, we've been talking a lot.
We have. We should ask them a question, though, because that's what you do at the end of a video. Hearing everything that we've discussed in this episode of the Bees Cast, do you want to marry an artist now?
Would you want to marry what?
You want to marry an artist now?
Oh.
I don't know. Hearing everything we have, what is a good question?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of a good question. Here we go. What is a role that if you're in a relationship right now, what is a role that you have in your relationship that you didn't think you would have?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Something that you've discovered about yourself, because that's something that I find very interesting, is how much I discover about myself being with you the longer I'm with you, and how much I'm willing, like just what I'm willing to do for you, with you, uplift you, all that kind of stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So in the comments below, let us know.
Also, check out How Married Are You?
Oh, right, that too.
Glenn and Yvette and the How Married Are You podcast, available now through your favorite podcast thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's really
cool. Or on YouTube.
Yeah, especially if, I know a lot of the people that watch this channel in general, are of the African-American variety. And you may or may not also want your spouse to be African-American as well. So head over to them, because it's two beautifully melanated people with 4 beautifully melanated kids, living a Christian life and trying to figure that out in their own way.
Has he publicly announced that thing?
What thing?
That we celebrated with him?
I don't know. No, he has not. He hasn't announced that yet.
He's doing big things, y'all.
And he's, yes. I mean, Glenn is like perpetually on the come up, so it's really cool to watch his career and just what he's got going on. I'm a big fan. So, and he's become a little bit of a mentor to me, honestly.
He's just good people.
Yeah, there's been a few times I've asked him professional advice and so on and so forth. Other such things. Anyway, let's end this episode. Sorry. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.